Member for Nepean.
Thanks, Speaker. My question is to the Premier. Today, this Labor government refused leave to refer an inquiry into the failed 2026 Commonwealth Games bid that would have compelled the Premier to appear. Why is the Premier afraid of accountability and answering questions on the Labor government's $589 million waste of Victorian taxpayer money?
Minister, to leave the chamber for half an hour. The member for Glen Waverley can leave the chamber for half an hour. Premier.
Thank you, Speaker, and I thank the member for Nepean for his question. And as I said to the House yesterday, and as I've said on previous occasions, and I'll come to the number of previous occasions in a moment, it was the right decision. It was a decision that was agreed to by the committee, by the former Leader of the Opposition, and we are getting on and delivering more homes, more sporting infrastructure, and attracting more visitors to regional Victoria as a result of our attraction program, as a result of the $2 billion that's being invested right now on these benefits, Speaker. In terms of the
Premier will resume her seat. Member for Nepean has a point of order.
On relevance, Speaker, the question asks why the Premier is afraid of accountability.
Order. The Premier's only been... Sorry, Leader of the House. The Premier's only been on her feet for 20 seconds. Premier, come back to the question.
Give the member for Nepean a hot tip. I'm certainly not afraid of answering questions from the member for Nepean, Speaker. I'm certainly not afraid to answer questions from the member for Nepean. And I'll also say this to the member for Nepean. Perhaps he missed an important part of the role of what we do during question times.
That's right.
You ask questions. And what I'll do, Speaker, what I'll happily do for the Speaker, in terms of whether it's questions during question time that I've been asked, or whether it's a number of appearances at press conference where I've been asked questions on this matter, I might go away and do the research that clearly the member for Nepean or the Liberal Party can't do, and add up the number of times I've been asked questions in this place and answered them on this very matter.
Point of order, Manager of Opposition Business.
The Premier is debating the question. She could answer some more questions about and be accountable at the inquiry.
Order. Premier. Order. Manager of Opposition Business, be succinct with your points of order, please. Premier, to come back to the answering. Premier has concluded her answer. On a supplementary question, member for Nepean.
Speaker, the Minister for Commonwealth Games Delivery torched $589 million of Victorians' money and was promoted to Premier. The Attorney-General weakened our bail laws and was promoted to Treasurer. The Minister for Commonwealth Games Legacy left no legacy but debt and was promoted to the Minister for Suburban Rail Loop. The Minister for Education oversaw the VCE debacle and remains the Deputy Premier. And the Minister for Police continues to oversee a crime crisis and chaos in Victoria Police and still holds his job. Is this what accountability looks like in the Labor government?
Premier.
Thank you, Speaker. I'll say this to the member for Nepean when it comes to the work of my government. One of my proudest moments as a Member of Parliament was the work that my team have done in passing anti-vilification and social cohesion bill this week. And if you want to talk about the work that we do on this side of the House...
Resume her seat. Member for Nepean on a point of order.
On relevance, Speaker, the Premier is not even close to answering the question.
Premier has only been on her feet for a few seconds.
Relevance is this. We are absolutely accountable for what we do. And I say this to the member for Nepean. The former Leader of the Opposition sacked from his party room a member who organised a rally where the Nazis turned up. Today they are led by a member who organised the rally where the Nazis turned up.
Member for Malvern. Member for Bulleen. Leader of the Opposition. Leader of the Opposition, and the Premier will come to order. 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 Leader of the Opposition. Point of order, Leader of the Nationals.
Thank you, Speaker. On both the question of relevance and on the fact that the Premier cannot attack the opposition in answering a question, I ask you to bring her back.
Order. Premier, on the point of order, Leader of the House.
Speaker, there is no point of order. The Premier on her feet was being entirely relevant, and she is entirely able to draw contrast between our government and those on the other side. And certainly no one on this side of the House turned up to a neo-Nazi rally.
On the point of order, Manager of Opposition Business.
Speaker, on the point of order, also rulings from the Chair, your rulings, Speaker, at page 54 and 55. The Premier and now the Leader of the House in her point of order is using language that disparages colleagues personally, and it's unparliamentary, and I would ask you to rule that it's unparliamentary.
Order. Order. Order! On the point of order in relation to relevance and not attacking the opposition, I ask the Premier to come back to the question. In terms of my own rulings, thank you for pointing that out. I'm so happy I made the rulings from the Chair. Leader of the Opposition, order. Leader of the House, I remind you not to make disparaging marks against other members in this chamber. Premier.
Thank you, Speaker. And I was making that point because the member for Nampia's question contrasted the actions of individual ministers in my government, and we are proud to work as a team to strengthen hate laws, to have toughest bail laws in the country, to ban machetes and stand with our proud multicultural, multi-faith and gender diverse communities. You can't say that about those opposite.
On a different point of order, member for Nepean.
Speaker, finding 62 in the Com Games report actually says that the Victorian government avoided public accountability.
Member for Nepean will resume his seat. Premier.
And I make that point, Speaker, in contrasting the performance of the former Leader of the Opposition with the current one.